They're designed to make our lives easier. From MRTs and underpasses to shopping malls and office blocks, we rarely notice how important escalators are to modern living. But a recent spate of accidents across Singapore has raised doubts about their safety. In April, shoppers were shocked to see this. In a mall in Tampines, the steps of a moving escalator suddenly collapsed. And more recently, a 5-year-old boy slashed his foot on an escalator at Jewel. All this makes me wonder, just how safe are our escalators? Despite the frequency of use, escalator safety is something we rarely think about. I've been doing some research. Did you know there were over 700 escalator accidents in just the last 2 years? That's almost 1 accident a day. So why are these accidents happening with such alarming frequency? This is Darren Lim. He works at the Building and Construction Authority, and it's Darren's job to enforce safety regulations. This includes investigating escalator accidents. So there's almost 1 accident happening per day. Why is that the case?
For last year, we saw about 350 incidents reported to us. Of that, more than 90% are actually due to user behavior. Less than 10% are actually due to technical faults. And of the total, 60% of them actually get sent to hospital because of the injuries that they might have suffered.
So when you mention user behavior, what kind of behavior are we talking about?
The most common kind that we see are those causing people to lose balance. So for example, not holding on to the handrail, and sometimes even leaning against the side of the escalator. All these can cause people to lose balance and fall off the escalators. And we also see more recent cases of stroller wheels getting stuck in between the steps. And that can cause the escalator steps to get dislodged and stop the escalator altogether.
So which group of people seem to be encountering these accidents the most?
From our data, we see that more than half of the incidents are involving elderly above 60 years of age. Another group that we see are young children putting their feet against the side of the escalators. That can cause the shoes to get stuck in between the gap, and sometimes even the toes can get stuck, and that can cause serious injuries.
And where do most of these accidents happen?
From what we see, they tend to happen where there are a lot of human traffic. So places like MRT stations where there is lots of escalator moving quickly during the morning, for example, at shopping malls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Escalators are an integral part of our daily life in Singapore. But how many of us notice these stickers, telling us the do's and don'ts of using these machines? No strollers, no trolley, no running. I've taken the escalator countless times, but hardly ever noticed them. I wonder if most people are like me. To find out, I'm going to station myself at Compass One, a shopping mall in Sengkang. An average of 60,000 people shop here every day. And I'm going to observe how they use these escalators. Hello, sir. Just now I saw you coming down. Do you think it's dangerous if you do it that way with the stroller?
Yeah, well, I think I got no choice unless I want to go over to the other side.
Did you see the sign on the escalator? The sign saying actually you're not supposed to put the stroller.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, actually. Yeah.
Okay. You were looking at your phone as you're coming down the escalator. You're not worried that like might stop suddenly?
I'm used to it now, so it's okay for me.
Well, did we see that? I mean, they were literally 2 of them back to back using the stroller. When you were younger, did you ever use the stroller and push it down the escalator?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay, even though actually you see the sign says you're not supposed to, right?
Yeah, guilty of that.
Guilty of that,
But
yeah.
at that time, you didn't think it was dangerous?
Convenience-wise.
Yeah, correct. Because sometimes the lift really takes a long time. And I think it's because of inconsiderate people, like they don't have a pram but they still prefer using the lift.
Yeah.
So that jams up the place, the timing as well.
Oh, did you get that? There were just a bunch of kids running down the escalator. They have no idea how dangerous that can be. Did you ever notice the signs on the side of the escalator telling you what you can or cannot do? Like it says you're actually not supposed to use your stroller on the escalator as well.
Right.
Yeah.
To be honest, no, the sign never caught my attention.
So I've been here for close to an hour and I've seen 3 people with their strollers riding the escalator. I've seen a bunch of kids running up and down and also lots of people looking at their mobile phones. It really makes me think that people don't care too much about their safety while using the escalator. So, what are the real dangers they're exposing themselves to? I'm making my way to KK Women's and Children's Hospital. This hospital has seen the number of escalator-related injuries among children double between 2012 and 2016. More than half of these accidents occurred at shopping malls. Head injuries?
Yes, from falls down the escalators, as well as cervical spine injuries, which is your neck injuries.
Yeah.
Typically from also entrapment injuries of the head between certain components of the escalator, like the escalator railing and the neighboring wall or pillars.
Dr. Sharon Goh works with the Department of Emergency Medicine. She's seen patients as young as 1 month old suffer from serious escalator-related injuries. Very often parents are also using their strollers on the escalator. How often are the accidents related to that?
We do see that 50 to 60% of the patients who come in with stroller involvement injuries do tend to be admitted. And why this happens is because sometimes what can happen is that parents push the children on to the escalator while they are still seated in the pram or strollers. And sometimes the seat belts are not buckled. They may fall off the stroller, slide off the stroller. And sometimes some parents may underestimate the weight of the strollers and prams. And this leads to toppling of the strollers and may cause a significant impact on the child or the toddler when they fall.
Whether it's children or adults getting hurt, authorities say 90% of accidents happen because of the way we use our escalators. Since 2016, new regulations have been implemented to ensure escalators are safer to use. But have these new rules been effective?
You can't even see the switch because it's all covered by dust. Do you think they have tested it in the first place?
There are nearly 7,000 escalators in use across Singapore, and issues surrounding their safety have become increasingly important. In 2016, the Building and Construction Authority imposed strict new regulations. Escalators must be maintained every month by contractors, and they also have to undergo annual inspections. Most importantly, any accident involving an escalator malfunction must be reported immediately. Chan Chi Kong is one of 88 certified independent escalator inspectors in Singapore. Chi Kong's job is to inspect the machines after they've been serviced. During such an inspection, what are some of the things you'd be looking out for?
For example, general cleanliness. There's a machine below, all right?
Yep.
And this machine, we have to just check what is the condition of the machine. Is it clean? A lot of the weight of the passengers is actually on these floor plates, as well as the steps. So the step and floor plates has to be in good condition, that kind of thing.
So are there enough inspectors?
I don't think that we don't have enough manpower. The main thing here is whether this is done correctly and completely. Most lift and escalator companies, they would have a checklist to go through. But physically ticking off a checklist, does that mean that the work is actually done? I have seen instances in my inspections, there are work, they are not properly done.
You're saying some of them may not be properly maintained.
Yes. I have seen even switches that becomes all clogged with dirt. You can't even see the switch because it's all covered by dust. Do you think they have tested it in the first place? See the amount of rust that is on the escalator? It's not something that happened over a day or two, okay? It's for years, that kind of thing.
So is it possible there could be escalators out there that have not been properly maintained and that could be vulnerable to an accident?
The inspector only comes in once a year at the end of the expiry of the permit, that kind of thing, to do an inspection.
Yeah.
But throughout the year, this is maintained on a monthly basis by the licensed escalator contractor.
So which means...
It is possible.
So the onus is on licensed contractors to perform the monthly maintenance. Chi Kyong has revealed our escalators might not be maintained properly, so I've arranged to meet an escalator manufacturer. CNA is a leading global manufacturer of escalators, and they provide service crews to perform maintenance on their escalators in Singapore. I had a chat with an inspector for escalators, and he was saying that actually the maintenance sometimes isn't the best. Is that an issue?
I would say it's an issue in any service industry.
Yeah.
So basically, in the end of the day, it's human beings who are doing the service. There are different skill levels. Some people are highly motivated, some people are highly trained, and then there are those who are not as equally high performing.
Is there a lack of this skill set in this industry?
We train all technicians that we employ, so we have training centers. So if you have good training programs, you educate your people and you take care of them, the maintenance standards tend to be high. But then if you lack in the training programs, the standard would be lower. The maintenance programs, they differ company to company again. But my understanding is that it's the interest in the field, the interest to work with elevators and escalators. Right. So I think that's where the issue is.
Okay, so there are not enough guys or people wanting to take on this profession?
Correct, correct.
There are 2,100 lift and escalator technicians in Singapore. It's estimated that about half of them are over the age of 50. Within the next 10 years, this group would have retired. Without new blood, a smaller pool of technicians may be forced to work on a lot more escalators every day, putting a strain on maintenance services. How easy is it for someone like me to damage an escalator?
I would say that as an escalator, as a machine, if it's used correctly, it's quite difficult to actually damage it. So they are built quite heavy-duty design, withstand wear and tear and so forth. But there are possibilities to damage a machine as well. So we look at the escalator guidance systems. We have stickers which show don't go with strollers, don't go with PMDs. And one reason for this is, of course, if you lose balance with your stroller, you might cause an accident. Another one is, again, you might jam the wheels between the steps, and then it can result in the steps getting dislodged and then crashing into the escalator combs. And that is then, it can cause harm to people, passengers, and it will also damage the escalator.
According to the Building and Construction Authority, there were 8 escalator accidents involving baby strollers last year. So what are the dangers when you push a stroller onto an escalator? Escalators are essentially a series of moving steps, balanced on top of an internal track system. When these steps reach the end of the escalator, they close up at a fixed angle to form a flat surface. Here, the stroller wheels can get stuck, especially when the escalator closes up at the end point. The obstruction pushes the steps upwards, causing them to lift off the internal tracks, which is the likely cause of this incident at Tampines Mall. When we don't use our escalators properly, it can result in serious damage to the machinery. And if escalator maintenance is as patchy as I've discovered, small mistakes can lead to serious consequences. 2 years ago, 52-year-old Lily Tan was out and about at People's Park complex when this happened.
When I step down the escalator, the first step only, I feel a sharp pain already. When I go down to the escalator, the pain is even sharper and a lot of blood come out already. And then passerby came by, then they helped me to bandage because they see it's too deep already, the cut. They say, you have to go to the hospital already.
Did you go back and see what is it that caused the cut?
Actually, I get my friend to go up to see what's the anything there or not. Then when he saw, she took a picture, okay, and then they saw the brush of the escalator not there, and then there's a metal sticking out there, chip. After I go to the hospital, the doctor told me I need to have stitches, 11 stitches.
11 stitches?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we go over there and have a see.
Yeah.
So you said you had some photos
Yes, I do.
of the escalator, right?
Yeah, this is the one whereby the
Oh, I can see what you mean.
The brush is not there, and then it's only the metal piece
That
there.
was sticking out. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And then this is the cut.
Ooh, that looks painful. That
Yeah.
was your toe.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to recover?
About 39 days I was on MC.
Oh wow, it's a long time.
It's a long time. And then I couldn't wear those covered shoes, the sports shoes yet because it's painful.
So now when you get in an escalator, are you very worried?
I normally don't stand at the side already. I will stand near somewhere in the center, yeah. Just afraid already, really scared of it.
Lily said the mall couldn't explain why a sharp piece of metal was jutting out from the escalator. She was compensated for her injuries, and the mall replaced the faulty escalator brush. Escalator rides shouldn't be risky, but everything I've learned so far says they potentially can be. The key is in the way we use escalators. I'm going to try to do just that. I'm investigating the high rate of escalator-related accidents in Singapore. I've discovered it all boils down to us and how we use these machines. Professor Chris Cummings is an expert in understanding user behavior and risk communications. He wants to encourage more people to be better aware of escalator safety. So why don't people seem to care very much about their safety when it comes to escalators?
Part of the problem really is that these are really common day kinds of technologies that we use where escalators are really everywhere in our society. By the time a typical child is maybe 5 years old, they've ridden escalators hundreds and hundreds of times. And so with these kind of commonplace everyday items that might be risky, there's really no thought process about, is this really risky?
So you're saying that actually it's so common in our lives, we take it for granted.
Absolutely. Think about it this way. This is one of the few machines that we will let children just use all the time, right? We don't let children drive cars. We don't let many people just use things that are considered heavy machinery, but that's really what this is.
What can we do then to help people become more aware of the dangers? I mean, the signage here doesn't seem to really work.
You can see in this sign, there's all kinds of do's and don'ts here, right? But you can also see that there's a lot of information in this one graphic, and it's hard to process all this. And so it's not like people are going to come walk up to the escalator, about to get on the escalator and go, oh, I should go read all those do's and don'ts. Right? They're just gonna go.
Doing a test and standing here and going, I can't even see what the words are saying from this part of the escalator.
And this one's a little smaller than what's being used when we go in through our MRTs, but still it's a lot of information to try and process. So instead we might focus on something like this.
But yet with these here, do people pay attention to them?
It's really hard to get people to pay attention. One thing that we're trying to do is to get people to pay attention to the message right before they get on the escalator. That's one option. So you'll see in some areas we use floor stickers that might say things like hold the rail or maybe provide some other messaging.
Okay. So right in front?
Right in front as people are walking up to the escalator. Provide them that priming message.
So I think I might take your ideas and do a little experiment.
Cool.
Go find a shopping mall, put some stickers and see if it actually changes any behavior at all.
I hope it does, but this again is one of those very hard kinds of risks to change because it's so commonplace. But I hope it works.
We've modified traditional safety posters to create massive floor stickers. And I'm hoping that this would be unmissable when people step onto the escalator. I'm back at Compass One, which has over 60,000 visitors every single day. Earlier, I noticed how many shoppers here clearly ignored the standard escalator rules. So I've made these huge stickers, advising parents not to bring up their strollers onto the escalator. And as Professor Cummings suggested, I'm sticking them where, hopefully, people will take notice. So, will shoppers get the message? Or will it fail to hit the mark? We left our cameras running the whole day. Thank you very very much. And I brought the footage to Compass One's general manager Sharon Tan, who's seen her fair share of escalator-related accidents in this mall. So as you can see here, this one lady, she actually does notice the sticker, but
I'm not surprised.
you're not surprised? She went on with her stroller and her suitcase anyway.
That's right. People want to get to their destination in the fastest way, and since they are on the escalator, they will just continue to travel on it.
Even though they know that they shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
But I guess they don't think it's dangerous.
A lot of people don't think that way.
But if it's really dangerous, then why shouldn't we tell people that you must hold on, you must use it this way?
No, we can't do that. It's too invasive. Because a lot of the escalators are also in private commercial properties.
Right.
And how do you impose?
Here we see another family coming with a baby in the stroller. I don't think they even looked at the sign.
That's right. And it's at a quite prominent location.
So we've put signs, it doesn't work. People seem to be carrying on as per normal. What should we do to ensure that people are more careful when using the escalators?
It should be about self-discipline and how safely we want our journey to be. And hopefully our users or our shoppers can inculcate the habit of safe use for our escalator.
I failed in my mission to change our escalator behavior. Singaporeans are clearly forgetting to stay safe, even when the answer is right in front of them. I'm kind of disappointed, to be honest, but I know behavior won't change overnight. And most of the time, our momentary lapses are harmless. But we don't want a close call to remind us that this is a dangerous machine, especially when we don't adhere to the safety rules.